أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, dear brothers. First of all, I want to start by thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who allowed us to come to His house and also allowed us to complete Salat al-Maghrib. And this is a huge blessing, and we should always thank Allah for everything that He has given to us. The topic for today I wanted to discuss is Yaqin. And I know we all have a definition in our minds of what Yaqin is, but I want to emphasize more on true Yaqin, that what is the conviction. So just to start, what is Yaqin? It is the certainty where it is beyond any doubt, beyond any assumptions. It does not require any proofs, and also is settled in the heart as an absolute truth. And I know that all of us today, if we ask ourselves, like if I ask you guys, do you guys have yaqeen in Islam? We always say yes. We all, feel this way. But I will challenge that. I would even say that most of us don't even have a doubt that Islam is the truth. And the reason behind that is because when you look at the concept of yaqeen, let me give you a couple of examples to give you, what yaqeen truly means and how we apply it to other aspects of our lives and how it's different when you apply it to deen. For example, somebody brings a snake here, and they give you 100% guarantee that this snake is not poisonous and it does not even bite. How many of you would be like, okay, let me just grab it? Because we have a doubt. So that's the doubt, right? That, oh no, maybe it is, so you don't go close to it. That's where, the doubt part comes in. That even if you have a doubt, you are hesitant, For example, somebody very close to you brings you your favorite drink, and this person, you trust with all your heart. And you're about to drink, and some stranger comes and say, hey, I saw this guy, he was actually poisoning this drink. Even though you trust this brother, you know him, some stranger's word put a doubt in your heart. You're going to do your best to not drink it. That's doubt. Now let me do the other way. When you have yaqeen, how many of us had early flights? Maybe like 3 a.m., 4 a.m.? Yeah, everybody has it, right? Yes. How many times we missed it because we didn't wake up, slept through the alarm? Because we had the yaqeen, if I miss it, I'm not traveling. So we all just wake up, let's go, all the energy. But when it comes to the same that, if I don't pray Fajr, I'm going to burn in hell, there is. So I said that there is not even a doubt that we're going to face Allah and we're going to see the accountability. So when we apply the true yaqeen, what is true yaqeen? We apply it under other places in our lives. That's where it comes and jumps out to us. But when it comes to, deen, we always have doubts. So this is basically, the concept of yaqeen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has explained yaqeen in 3 different levels. The first one is ilm al-yaqeen, which is, that we all have, where we open Quran and then we read it and, we believe it's true. All the words of Allah. And it's like, knowing about fire through study and, you are able to verify it. The other one is Ainul Yaqeen, where you see it, just like I mentioned, that, you see some fact of life and this is going to happen, Fire is going to burn you. There's no doubt. You're not going to be like, let me touch it and check it, And then the final one is Haqqul Yaqeen, which is certainty through experience, that now your inner self is convinced. Haqqul Yaqeen, now you are fully, nobody can, change your mind because you have seen it. Like it's like a beyond fact moment for you. So why is it important? Because yaqeen, you can say, is the oxygen for everything in Islam. Because yaqeen is a foundation for everything we do. For example, I want to get into a little bit of topics such as, we talk about taqwa, fear of Allah. And I just gave an example that when you have yaqeen that, oh, I'm going to face accountability, you wouldn't even think about committing a sin. Just like you wouldn't touch the snake because you know that what if. So if you have this doubt that, oh, what if it's true? What if the hellfire is real? You're like, let me not even go down that road because the if part is enough for me to be saved. And that's the part that I want to, really emphasize, that how we can really use our yaqeen to apply to every single element of our deen. And in Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, whoever fears Allah, He will make a way out for him and provide for him from where he never expected. And also in the same ayah it ends with, and whoever relies upon Allah, He is sufficient for him. So this is basically, where the true yaqeen comes in, that I am going to fear Allah. I'm going to face Allah, and that true conviction that Allah is watching me. So you basically have, this, now you have like this conviction that, oh, I'm being watched all the time and everything is being documented and it's going to bring it, it's going to come back to me. So then your taqwa becomes true taqwa because of the true yaqeen that you have. And it leads to, obedience and, obedience. And then, it also results in, true action. Additionally, just like taqwa, we also have tawakkul, that we, basically meaning, that we trust in Allah. And we always, have this concept like very blurred in people's minds. Some people say that, oh, it's using means is, where tawakkul is. Some say no, it's fully being, hopeful in everything in Allah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He Himself explained that it's a combination of both. It is using means, but then they're also trusting Allah 100%. And if you look at it in the sense of, this yaqeen, again, with tawakkul also solidifies it where you really understand who Allah is. Because when you have no doubts left, you realize that all this universe and the system has been created by the perfect being. Because no matter what situation comes in front of me, Allah is going to find a way out for me. Because He is the one who created it. Because you have true conviction. For example, there is a farmer. And, he has some cattle. And he always has a fear that, oh my God, some person is going to come and they're going to steal my sheep. And, he always is like very paranoid. But then, turns out that the farmer, he knows the leader of the country for some reason. He's going to sleep like, nobody's going to touch my sheep. Because everybody knows that he knows the leader. He has that power behind him, covering him, he's going to have no fear. He's going to let his sheep go. He knows, oh my God, don't worry about it. Everybody knows that, I know the president. That's the same mindset we should carry with tawakkul. That when we have this mindset, Allah is with me, then there is no fear, like legitimately no fear that things can go wrong for me. And there is the example of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, when he approached the sea with Bani Israel when they were escaping under Fir'aun. And the Bani Israel, we know that their iman was, and their tawakkul was not strong. So they said, indeed we are overtaken. But Sayyidina Musa replied, never. My Lord is with me and He will guide me. And subhanAllah, look at that. Like, that's the, that's a tawakkul, that there's a sea in front of you. Who can even imagine the sea splitting? Like the concepts that we believe to be facts today as science, he was like, Allah is going to create something out of nothing, and that happened. Allah split the sea open. That's the level of tawakkul that, brings those levels of miracles out of, out in the world. Similarly, when Prophet ﷺ and Sayyidina Abu Bakr, they were also escaping, the kuffar from Makkah, and they took the refuge in the cave, and the kuffar came very close to the cave. And Sayyidina Abu Bakr said, if they look down, they will see us. Like, we are this close. But Rasulullah ﷺ said, do not grieve, Allah is with us. That's something that I want us to carry with us, with that yaqeen. That if tonight we find out I have stage 4 cancer, okay, Allah is with me. Something terrible has happened that I can never come out of, Allah is with me. And that's where, when true yaqeen is behind you, then Allah truly sends His help. Because He knows that you truly are believing in, Allah's capability of being able to change literally scientific facts of science today, because Allah is in ultimate control.
I think taking the meaning also is like it's half of like
yeah, absolutely.
And
taking
the means is
that
because Moses alayhi salam, he took
because Allah commanded him. Yes, definitely.
He hit the seed with the
absolutely. That's what I explained earlier too, that there is the combination, and thank you for that clarification, that it's not just blind trust, but my point is that having that level of conviction where that no matter what comes in front of you, Allah is with you. That should be enough for you to have trust in Allah. But then Allah also says that don't just rely there, because we are also like, Allah create asbab, and asbab are there, but asbab only trigger when you have tawakkul, when you really believe in that. So, but Jazakallah for that addition, that there's definitely means that need to be added there.
Right.
And additionally, I also want to add the third topic, where yaqeen is really used, and the concept I want to share today is, when you have true yaqeen, everything, just like I said, tawakkul, taqwa, shukr, everything, it basically relies on yaqeen. So the third one I want to mention is the commitment and tranquility, which is also known as itminan, itminan fil qalb, like, you're feeling like very calm and, content. And that also comes from, the true yaqeen. When you have full conviction that Allah is behind, taking care of all my matters, then your yaqeen increases and your anxiety decreases, because all of us, insan, we always have worries, anxiety, what if this, what if that. But the moment you have this, conviction, that is, I gave the example of the farmer, he knows that, president is gonna help me. He sleeps like, like full, like, ease, because he knows that I have somebody, with me. So anxiety goes down. You have no fear, We all have, this concept, what if I die tonight? What if, But subhanAllah, it's interesting if you think about it, like, we sleep every night with the yaqeen that I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning. Because we never have this thought that, what if I don't wake up? I'm like, no, tomorrow I'm going to have this. I'd call my friend, I say, hey, don't worry about it. Tomorrow we're going to play soccer, tomorrow, and you bring this. SubhanAllah, like, who knows that I'm going to make the morning? But I have yaqeen that I'm going to wake up. SubhanAllah, which should not be a yaqeen for me. So that's, something that I also want to mention, that the fear, it shifts from this dunya and, these, asbab in front of us, and we start to fear that, what's the true fear we are taught, which is fear of Allah. That we put everything in front of Allah and we actually start to, change our actions because we are fearing Allah. And on top of that, our love also shifts. Because when you have true itminan inside of you, then the worldly life does not mean anything more, because you truly start to love Allah. If something comes, you thank Allah, you love Allah more. Something goes, you thank Allah, you love Him more. So your whole mindset changes, and you truly start to follow what we've been told. And there's a story of Sayyidina Abu Darda, and there's a long story, so I'll give you a summary here. Basically, one of the companions, he came running to him, and he said, there is a fire, and a lot of the houses are getting burned, and your house is one of those houses. And he said, no, my house cannot burn today. He's like, it's your neighborhood. Like, I saw, the fire is exactly in the place where your house is. He said, no, my house is not going to burn. And he said, why? He said, well, because my house cannot burn because I recited a dua the Prophet Islam taught me, and Prophet Islam never lies. And the dua, Prophet Islam said, whoever reads this dua is never going to face, hardship and challenge on that specific day when he has recited it. And subhanAllah, when they went to check, all the houses had burnt except his. This is a Sahih Hadith. So this shows the Yaqin of Sahaba. Like when they read a dua, now they had ultimate conviction that that's gonna happen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that reason was making that all become true. Because it's again a miraculous, discovery that how can your house got saved, because they had, they recited a dua, the means, and then they had the yaqeen, and alhamdulillah, their house was saved. And on the contrary, I also want to mention, that when you don't have yaqeen and you are really relying on people, you start to have the concept in your mind that the person or that specific situation or that opportunity has the power. So now you're taking power from Allah and giving it to a person, like, oh, if this person puts a good name for me, I'm going to get the job. Or if I get this job, then my children are going to have good food. Oh, if I take this specific route, I'm going to be safe. Because the other route I might get accident. Now this starts to get into the area of shirk. Because now you're taking Allah's power and you're putting it on other places. And this is where your yaqeen weakens. Because then Allah, and we all have been there. We do our best in doing everything to safeguard certain situation or make something happen. Like making phone calls. Like for example, there's a wedding, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna make sure this is gonna go. Everything is gonna go well. You talk to everybody like, oh, blah blah. Last minute, something happens and everything goes wrong. I remember one time in Pakistan there was a wedding. And the guy, he did so much work, putting, all of these, tents outside, bringing everything. And he called everybody, he said, we're going to have the best time. And he was like, everybody has to come. Everybody has to come. This is going to be the best wedding we've attended. But he was not giving credit to Allah. And the night before, nobody was forecasting the weather. The worst storm came and everything got destroyed. So the wedding was postponed, So this is again because now you're basically putting Allah's power into other places, but you fail to realize that Allah is all powerful. And if you disbelieve Allah in that sense, then things are most likely going to go wrong. So that's where you should have a doubt that, oh no, things can easily go wrong, so I should really give it all back to Allah. And there's a hadith of Sayyidina Ibn Abbas radhiyallahu anhu. Prophet ﷺ said, where he was riding with one of his servants on the camel, and he said, let me teach you something, which was, he said, if all people gather to benefit you, they cannot benefit you except with what Allah has written for you. And if they gather to harm you, they cannot harm you except what Allah has written for you. This is a very famous hadith. We all have heard this hadith before. But this basically takes away that element of shirk. That whatever Allah has written is going to happen. We are not going to have any sort of, power or any sort of influence into what we can change. Even the dua that can change outcome is again written by Allah. Allah says if you make dua, your circumstance can change, your future outcome can change, but we ourselves can never even have any sort of change. So that takes away all the elements of fear in both ways, in terms of benefits and also in terms of the harm. That's why when you have like true tawakkul, sometimes I leave my house and I no matter what situation comes, if I have read the dua, I ask myself, nothing can happen. And if something happens, I know this is what Allah had written anyway. So that was basically a really important element that opposite of yaqeen starts to lead you to shirk, and that's where things start to take the barakah out of your life, and you're going to start to see a lot of problems, your anxiety goes up. So the true yaqeen is the foundation of all of the concepts and everything that determines how our belief is set up, specifically our faith. And I quickly want to mention, to the same topic on how the true yaqeen transforms our deen. So yaqeen transforms our salah because, salah becomes more alive, your heart becomes more present, and you pray like Allah is watching you. And we all had that moment at some point, right? When you had this really conviction of salah where you were feeling like I'm in front of Allah and the whole world has vanished, Sometimes, it happens during Taraweeh in Ramadan when you're like feeling yourself not present in the masjid. You feel like you've gone somewhere else spiritually. And yaqeen also transforms the dua, meaning, you make dua with conviction, where you really feel like this dua is going to get accepted. And subhanAllah, we all have been there too. Some duas we have made with conviction and we really saw it. So now our ilm al-yaqeen turns into haqq al-yaqeen. Because now we saw a dua really happen in front of your eyes, where you didn't do anything different than the last time, except your conviction was there, your yaqeen was in the dua, and that became the reason. And then yaqeen also transforms sabr, because you know that tests are gifts and are purification. So then you know that, okay, if even I have calamity, the yaqeen really makes that feel like, okay, like a test that, okay, Allah is testing me, so meaning Allah is focused on me, so that also becomes a sense of ease. And yaqeen, again, I said, transforms taqwa, that you stop sinning because you believe that Allah is watching. So now, as I said, the example of the doubt, where now you're gonna watch yourself like, okay, let me not do that, like you make a U-turn much earlier because now you have that fear in your heart. And then yaqeen transforms tawakkul too, because as I said, it reduces your stress and your trust in Allah increases. And yaqeen at the end transforms worship, meaning that it, as I said, affects everything, because now your ikhlas, your sincerity becomes more, and now you're worshiping Allah much better. So this concept of yaqeen, as I said, was the oxygen, because it basically elevates everything. So now the final part here I want to mention is that everybody wants to know, how can I increase my yaqeen, right? And one of the easiest and the best way is to really do deep reflection on Quran. Really read Quran and try to understand it, and really believe in the words. Because in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and reminding benefits the believers. And that's basically the reason I'm sitting here. My goal is to get the benefit for myself. And that increases your yaqeen, because when you say it, when you read it, when you understand it, it helps you first. And then Allah allows others to get benefit if He wills. And also you can also reflect on the past blessings. That also increases yaqeen, because we are humans, we forget so easy. But sometimes we really ask that, oh, subhanallah, that dua got accepted. Oh, that day I got saved. Oh, that situation was impossible, but Allah made a way. So your yaqeen increases when you reflect back on your blessings. And you also can increase your yaqeen by keeping the righteous company. Because when you have, good friends, good people around you, you start to see their actions. Because Sahaba, they had the strongest yaqeen because they were closest to the Prophet ﷺ. They had the best company. And they also were close to each other. So when you're in the best company, now, sometimes you correct each other. There's so many times, some of my brothers, we're just speaking, and then I say something, he's like, brother, you're about to backbite. So you're like, oh wow, sorry, I totally forgot. And then your yaqeen is like, oh no, yeah, let me not say that about some person, because sometimes we forget. So having a good company, good friends, encourage you for the good deeds, and try to keep you away from the bad deeds. And another way you can also increase yaqeen is by doing dhikr. Again with the conviction that you're actually calling to Allah. And some of the dhikr are, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That's one of the most common ones. Also is hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel, and then subhanallah wa bihamdi. These are some of the dhikr that are, specifically for, increasing your yaqeen, and you really contemplate, and there's immense benefits that come with it. That is a bonus too. And also you act on what you know. That a lot of us, we have, alhamdulillah, so much knowledge, but sometimes we fail to act on that. And what is one of the reasons for that? It is, again, because we don't have yaqeen. Same example with the snake that I said earlier. That when you know something, you make sure that, you act on that, because, and when you act on that, that increases your yaqeen because you see the benefits. So that's a cycle, really increasing your actions. And one of the most important one is to practice tawakkul, and asking Allah, with conviction in your heart that Allah increases, and takes care of your matter, because you have that conviction of iman and yaqeen, and Allah makes that be the reason for that to be accepted. Finally, I want to mention that another way is to also study the names of Allah. A lot of us, we have memorized the name, but we sometimes don't study it by understanding what each name means. We know the big ones, the Al-Hafiz, Al-Wakil, Al-Razak, Al-Qawi, and these are some of the words that helps us understand who Allah is, and that helps us kind of feed into the yaqeen that that's who He is. Because shaitan also gets us into places where our knowledge is there, but we don't reflect on that. So we don't really understand who Allah is. We just have this really broad definition, and that's where we leave it. But it's also good to go into those specific names, and that really helps you get better understanding of who our Creator is. That's why Allah gave us His names. So just to conclude, just want to mention that yaqeen is not just a belief, but it is something that supports every element of our deen, and it is the foundation of our faith and every other concept that we follow in our Islam. And again, it is basically the engine of your deen and your iman. And finally, I want to mention, there is a hadith by Prophet Islam. Prophet Islam said, "A servant continues to be tested until he walks on earth without a sin left on him." So you can see that, the more you develop your yaqeen, things are going to start to increase as it basically fuels everything. And eventually, over the years, you're going to find yourself in the time when you are the best version of yourself. And whenever your death is written, you want to be at the best level of iman. Of course, as humans, we're going to have ups and downs, and Allah, is all forgiving. We spoke about that in the last lecture. But when you're doing this practical application of, yaqeen and how it's, fueling everything, whenever death comes to you, you're welcoming it, because you're I'm ready, and you have contentment that, okay, I did my best, and inshallah Allah accepts it, and, you pass the ultimate test of our life, and we end up, inshallah, entering Jannah. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us yaqeen, and also, give us a life filled with taqwa, increase our tawakkul, and, make us better obedient servants. And then I also ask Allah to, yeah, help us understand our deen and, increase our knowledge in Quran, and also, help us share it with others. With that, I'll end. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Jazakallah for listening.
Jazakallah khair, barakallah feek. It's beautiful.